Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you with us today. Today's an interesting day, and I'm going to say some hard things, but, the Roman Catholic Church has traditionally, and in their dogma, been pro heterosexual marriage. They've been very outspoken and adamant against same-sex attraction marriages or same-sex marriages. And today we learned that Pope Francis, they produced an 8-page document or, whatever formal decree from the Vatican that allows for blessings for same-sex marriages. Now, I'm not really interested in, going after homosexuality or any person in particular. That's not my thought today. And to clarify, he is not, as I read it, he's not approving same-sex marriages for the Roman Church, but that in their non-liturgical settings, there might be blessings offered upon people who struggle with same-sex attraction or who are in same-sex relationships. Now, I think he's probably trying in some sense to be pastoral to people. I'm going to be very gracious to Pope Francis and, recognize that he's not, I don't think he's trying to hey, it's a Monday, let's cause as much scandal as we can. I think he's probably got a pastoral motivation. But what it made me think about was whether it's good or bad, and you can debate that however you feel, whether it's good or bad, the Roman Church is against same-sex marriage and attractions, and by making this decree, he's kind of going back against what his church teaches. In other words, he's not staying true to the values, the morals, whatever the system that the Roman Church has always proffered. And again, it may be pastoral, but it was a funny thing because I wondered as I read the article and the Vatican decree, how many of us actually struggle with going back on what we believe and not staying strong when we have something that we, a conviction that we put our hearts and minds into, at least that we publicly confess, hey, this is a conviction I have, and we waver with it, right? I mean, it can be hard because there's a lot of social pressure. I mean, it's very, you can be labeled some type of a homophobe if you say things like I'm saying today, which I'm clearly not against any person, but those are the labels that can come. There's pressure, there's fear, that kind of stuff about the cancellation, the cancel culture. It can be a very a hard thing to do. But when it comes to being strong and standing up for what you believe in, I think as Christians and as warrior saints, we have a responsibility to stay true and stay firm to what we believe. Now, that doesn't mean just in the same-sex arena, but I think it applies to all aspects of life. And, if a highly influential and, powerful figure like the Pope can succumb to, these distractions, can you and I not also, feel the pressure and struggle with that kind of stuff? I mean, I think we can, and I think we do. I sure struggle with it all the time. I mean, it's life is fun, but it is challenging. So how do we find in our our own lives to be ferocious about what we believe in? Now, let me say a couple of quick things. If we establish some type of a system, whether it's a moral or ethical code in our lives, and we realize at some point that it's we grow and we learn new things, you can certainly adapt, right? But some things are fundamental truths. Some things are just, solid, set in stone. And are we willing to mess with them? Or are we willing to stand up for what we believe in the face of those challenges, like the cancel culture or the labeling, at the expense of those things, in order to stay true to what we believe? I'm telling you, it's a hard thing to do, and I recognize that. I do that every single day of my life. But it's important. Actually, it's essential that we do that. And as warrior saints, finding that strength and that courage to be true, even though you may be a voice all by yourself, a la Elijah in 1 Kings, it's hard. So how do we do that? How do we find that strength and that courage? Well, I think there are a few steps to that. And it first means that we really have to know what we believe. And secondly, I think once we know it, it's embracing the fear that may come along or accompany speaking that, right? So in other words, it's fearful, and we got to face it. So here's the thing, the way I look at it. First, you got to know Scripture, man. You got to know what God says and what He wants from us. And secondly, we have to recognize and remember that being brave rather, is not the absence of fear, but it's doing the right thing in spite of fear, right? So even when things are scary, you do the right thing anyways. And that's what Warrior Saints are all about. And that's what we do. We teach what God speaks to us from His Holy Scripture. I mean, that's just what we do. We have a program called Understanding the Bible at our website, and all we do is teach Scripture book by book. We've got 2 done and the 3rd's on its way, and we're just going to keep going until we finish. That helps us know what God says. So we know, for those of us that are Warrior Saints, what we actually believe and subscribe to. And then, as we fight this battle within ourselves and engage that fear to say and speak the right things, we've got a 6-part battle plan. Because brother and sister, it's a battle inside. It's a battle inside to do what's right, even sometimes when we're afraid or when we just don't feel like it. And this 6-part battle plan really helps us unlock all of those fears and those challenges and those hard things that we have to encounter in our lives, so that we might do so in a crucifixional manner, ultimately finding ourselves to be, what God has asked us to be. So I always, say it every day. I encourage you guys, visit us at warriorsaints.org. It's our website. You can find both parts there, both steps, I should say, on the way to becoming a warrior saint. And maybe you consider joining us. I mean, we're doing it. We're fighting hard every single day. Maybe you want to join us if you're up for it. If you want to get your life in order, it's pretty simple. Visit warriorsaints.org. Love you. We're going to be back tomorrow. We might continue this conversation this week. Let's see what happens. But either way, as always, you keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.